Hi, I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. Our weekly reset, where every week we come together just to get inspired and to get a little new information, to get our hearts and our spirits and our minds all in synchronicity so that we can move forward in this next week with the very best of who we are and the very best of what we have to offer. So let's get started. Today, I'm going to talk to you about something that's really special to me, and I think that you're going to love it too. We're going to talk about an element of life that's constant, that's there with us all the time, all the time, all the time, and that gives us a choice as to how to work with it. It's fear. But actually, we're not going to talk so much about fear as the nature of fear. And the nature of fear is that it's energy. It's not good or bad. It's not terrible or wonderful. It's just energy. It's the same energy that is in the universe. Same energy that makes planets rotate around their suns. Same energy exactly. So there's no such thing as truly as fear energy. And also there's no such thing as love energy. Love energy. See, those aren't automatic. Those are choices. We either choose to love or we choose to be in fear. I know, that may sound crazy because there's things that are scary in life, really, really scary. And those scary things, that fear is real, right? But here's the thing. It's just energy that comes to you. It's energy that comes to you. It wells up inside of you, doesn't it? It wells up inside of you, and you're faced with challenges all day, every day, all day, every day. To do this or to do that, to do that or to do this, to go here or to go there, to not go at all, to eat that piece of cake or to not eat that piece of cake. You're just constant choices. And those choices are usually between fear and love. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the word love for a while in this talk, just so it doesn't sound like that gushy thing that goes on between us romantically, just so it comes into focus as to what love really is. I'm going to call love grace. So for the purpose of this talk, I'm going to call love grace. So every time you hear me say grace, you'll know that I'm talking about love. So there's energy. There's energy in the universe. Boy, there's a lot of energy. And in fact, it's the same energy, like I said, that makes the universe happen, makes planets and trillions of galaxies exist. And the energy, and by our scientific observations, is broken down into the gravitational force and the magnetic force and the weak force and the strong force. And all those forces together are different elements of that one great energy. Now, here's the thing about energy, is that energy is intelligent. It travels in frequencies, and all frequencies are intelligent. So there's an intelligence in energy that is energy. It's energy and it's intelligence. Stick with me. I know I'm going out on a limb here, but this isn't that hard. Energy is intelligence. It really is intelligence. And if we trust it and trust that it's there for us to use, then rather than push us back, it can push us forward. Here's the most marvelous thing. All energy travels in frequencies. And the frequencies are intelligent, and that intelligence is us, and that energy is us. It's inside of us, it's inside of you, it's intelligent. And yes, your body's made of the intelligence of the universe. Your body's made of the intelligence of the universe. And if you quell that, if you push it down, if when that energy that fear energy comes up inside of you, you push it away. Or you do what many of us do, is do addictive behaviors of some kind. That what we're trying to do is we're trying to quell that energy coming up inside of us because we're afraid of it. So we're trying to quell that energy. So we drink, or we smoke our dope, or we take drugs, or we do endless sex, or we eat fats, or we do whatever, and sugars, we do whatever we need to do to sort of push that energy away. But what if we didn't push it away? What if that energy is actually our friend? And what if instead of fearing it, we taught ourselves, and we'd have to teach ourselves because we've already learned to be afraid. We were taught that from the time we were little kids. There's so much to be afraid of in this world. Be careful about this, be careful about that. Don't go outside without your coat on. Don't get your hair wet because you just went out and got your head wet. Now you probably catch a cold, blah, 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 blah. All that fear being planted inside of us constantly, teaching us that we're not enough, teaching us that there are things in this world that'll destroy us. So that becomes our default interpretation of that energy. It's default. It's what we just do. It's automatic. When that feeling wells up inside of us, we need to do whatever we have to hide it, to push it away, to quell it, to get out of it. But if we could train ourselves, to feel that energy and embrace it, it will be there as a friend to help us through the greatest challenges of life. The greatest challenges of life. Boy, there's some dandies. I know. I've been to the mountain. And those challenges, every one of them, are there for a purpose. They're not incidental or accidental. They're there for a purpose. They're on your path. They're trees that have fallen over your path, or there's a bear standing in the middle of your path, or a snake, or a big rock that you can't get around and you don't know how to get around. Those are there for you. Those are there on purpose. And they have a purpose. And the purpose is for you to grow around them, to grow bigger. But how can you do that? How can you grow bigger than something that's bigger than you? By embracing that energy inside of you that we call fear and allowing it to empower you so that you rise up bigger than that. When we're in self-doubt, which is actually a lack of faith, isn't it? It's a lack of trust, isn't it? Isn't self-doubt a lack of trust? I mean, trust in ourselves to be able to overcome things, or trust in the universe, or trust in a friend, or trust in something. Because if we don't have faith in something, Jesus, who's this great master teacher, said, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, tiny, 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 size of a mustard seed. You know how big a mustard seed is? It's tiny. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to that mountain over there, move, and it'll move. What he's saying is that you're in charge of your world, of your life, of your experiences. You're in charge. You're not less than anyone else. No, but I don't care how magnificent someone is, or how wealthy they are, how handsome or beautiful, or how well they dance or act or sing or play the piano, or how marvelous artists they are, or how splendid they are at their job, and how articulate they are among friends. Doesn't matter. No one is greater than you. No one is greater than you. You are the only you that has ever been. And because of that, you are blessed. You are given the ability to live your life fully and completely. And you and I are here for a purpose. And the purpose is for us to grow in wisdom and in joy. That's what our purpose is. That's what we're doing here. That's what we came into this planet Earth, is to grow in wisdom and joy. And you know what? If we don't do it, then we get to do it later. But we've got a mission to accomplish. We got a mission to accomplish, and that's to grow in wisdom and joy, to maximize in our lifetime the amount of wisdom and joy that we can hold, that we can contain, that we can be. And you know, I recently had a visit from an old friend of mine who said, "Get on with it. Just get on with it." And I think we all need to get on with it. But we can't do that while we're being paralyzed by fear. So believe it or not, when these are a result of our choices, we can choose. We can choose to be either in fear or in grace. Now, right now, as I'm talking to you, you're feeling a feeling in your body. If you pay attention to that, don't push it away. There's kind of an urgency inside of you. Acknowledge that, please. Acknowledge that with me, that there's a little bit of a going on inside of you. Maybe it's a should. I should do this, or I should do that, or I should not do this, or I should not have done that, or maybe, whatever it is, there's that energy's inside of you. It's there for a purpose. It's part of life. It's part of your life energy. It's there to support you. And it's not to be hidden from. Abraham Maslow, great, incredible psychologist, said, at any given moment, we have two options: to step forward in growth or to step back into safety. To step forward into growth or to step back into safety. At any given moment, he said, we have these two options. At any given moment. My gosh. So am I saying that your fear is a conscious decision? Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a conscious decision. You have that upwelling inside of you, or you know you need to make this phone call, or a phone call comes and you need to talk to somebody, or you need to face something, and you make a decision to hide from it. You make a decision to go to your addictions or whatever to hide from it. So sometimes it's a conscious decision, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a subconscious decision. Sometimes our programming throughout our whole life has been to hide from it, to push it down, to push it away, to not embrace fear, to not embrace it, to not let that energy, which is pure love, it's pure grace, it's pure love, is embracing that energy and letting it convert into something beautiful, into a garden of flowers in your heart. To embrace it and to let it challenge you and get on with it. Get on with it, whatever that is, get on with it. I was running one time, and I was a long distance runner, and I was running, and I was running through a mountainous area, and I was going by a person's house, and they had a car parked in their driveway, just a remote house out in the middle of nowhere. And as I ran by the car, this giant German Shepherd dog leapt out at me. He was just roaring, and he was coming right at me. And without thinking, I just swung around at him and threw my arms up and screamed at him and jumped at him. And he peed his pants and ran. Now, that was automatic for me because I've been facing fear for a long time and standing up to it and letting that energy come up inside of me. If I had been afraid, if I had let my fear overcome me at that time and turned and run and tried to get away, I probably would have gotten pretty badly mauled. The same thing happens with lots of wild animals. I know a woman, read a story once of a woman who was tormented by a raccoon, terrified by a raccoon. She's 10 times the size of the raccoon. I mean, and yeah, raccoons can sometimes, once in a while, be dangerous. But hello, look at the difference in your ability, your size, your intelligence, your strength. But we allow our default thinking, our subconscious automatic way of seeing life to take over and guide us. But a life well lived, is always full of challenges, isn't it? And isn't it true that we're constantly empowered to grow through each one of those challenges by that same sacred energy that pumps 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of your blood vessels each day? Where does that come from? Where does that energy come from? 2,000 gallons of blood through 60,000 miles of your blood vessels every day. No, you don't think about that. I'd rather not think about that. Yeah, well, think about it. Let us think about it because that's a miracle of who you are. That's the same energy that replaces 300 billion of your cells each day. That energy is life. It's life itself. It's a powerful, intelligent energy that's actually the presence of the beloved being, the beloved, holy, great spirit, that great presence that people call God, except they see a guy in the sky, and I don't see that. I just see the incredible intelligence, loving power of all universes at all times. That is yours. That is yours. You are the only one that's ever been on this planet or ever will be on this planet or any other planet. So when we dread energy, when we fear energy, can you imagine that? We're fearing this gift of empowerment. We're fearing this gift of empowering grace that's flowing through us, allowing us to overcome challenges and reach our dreams. Then, yeah, we were taught to be afraid. We were taught to be afraid. No, we're big people now. We need to change that. We need to stop being afraid of fear. We need to see it as a thing in and of itself, as an energy, not good, not bad, just energy there for us to use. If you take a gallon of gasoline and explode it, you can blow your house down. But we go to the gas station and we put 15 or 20 gallons of gas in our tank. We don't think about that as being dangerous. We use it. We need to do the same thing with fear energy. The only accurate name for that energy is grace or love. And it's welling up in us, the blessed power of life to help us constantly grow in joy and wisdom. Most addictions are the result of people hiding their fear. We just do that. We don't want to face it. And I had a dear close friend who took his own life because it was too great for him. He didn't see how he could go forward. It was just too frightening for him. I didn't know at that time what I know now. I might have been able to help him. But it was heartbreaking for me. Still is when I look back at it. But we see, I think he was seeing, and a lot of people are seeing life, seeing life itself, seeing the energy of life itself, which is life itself, almost like they would see a great, strong stallion horse, mighty horse, snorting and pawing, and his great muscles rippling in his body. And we'd say, oh my God, that horse is so big and so strong, so much bigger than I am, so much more than I am. Oh my God, I think I'll hide from it. Or you could train the horse to love you, and then you could ride it into your dreams. Fear's the same thing. Turning fear and grace into grace in your mind. I promise you, if you can do that, if you're willing to do that, if you're willing to just start today to look for fear everywhere you can find it and turn it into grace, your mind will uplift and renew every part of your life, every part of your body. Your body will change. Your life will change. Your relationships will change. Your health, your sleep, everything in your life will change if you can just acknowledge and embrace that beautiful love energy that's flowing through you. And where your doubts once plagued you, instead, there'll be an opportunity and a probability. So once again, shall that life energy be fear, or shall it be grace, which is the name of love? Grace, love, the energy of all universes in all times. John Lennon said there's two basic motivating forces, fear and love. There are two basic motivating forces, fear and love. When we're afraid, we pull back from life. When we're in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. Now, why should we listen to the words of some guy who was in a band, who was a musician and a singer? Why should we listen to him? Because he was just this goofy kid from London, just a goofy kid, and he became world famous and an inspiration to millions and millions and millions of people. And his heritage goes on. Generation after generation after generation of people love John Lennon. So maybe he did know what he was talking about, because he had to make a decision himself of what to do with his fear, to go from this goofy kid in London to being a man who was the superstar of the world. It took a lot of courage for him to do that, step by step by step, facing fears and overcoming them, and becoming more and becoming more and becoming more, and allowing himself to become more. And he's the guy who says there's two basic motivating forces, fear and love. And when we're afraid, we pull back from life. And when we're in love, we open to all that life has to offer with passion, excitement, and acceptance. And then our lives change. And then our lives change. I've heard people say a lot of times, I wish I could know God. I wish I could know there is really a God. I wish I'd get a sign. I need a sign. I need a sign from my 300 trillion cells, 300 billion of them, which are being renewed each day. And my 2,000 gallons of blood that are being pumped through 60,000 miles of blood vessels. And all of the rest of the miracles that are going on around me all the time. I need a sign. Marianne Williamson said, love and fear represent two different lenses through which to view the world. Which I choose to use, Marian said, will determine what I think I see. Which I choose to use will determine what I think I see. So if I'm seeing something I don't like, I think I'm seeing that. And if I choose love, if I choose that lens, then I'll see something different. So the basic question I have to ask myself today simply is this: what do I want? And is what I want exciting enough for me that I'll be willing to change my default thinking and begin accepting this energy as my life rather than my burden? There was a time when my life was consumed by fear. I didn't know that life energy had any other purpose than to warn me, to keep me from danger, either keep me hidden or to react with extreme violence when I felt threatened. No dad, living in housing projects, gangs, gang fights, deaths, fighting all the time, fighting all the time, afraid all the time. And then somebody gave me a disc, a record by Dr. Ben Sweetland called Building Mind Power. And somewhere Dr. Ben Sweetland said this: the world is full of abundance and opportunity. The world is full of abundance and opportunity. But far too many people come to the fountain of life with a sieve rather than a tank car, a teaspoon instead of a steam shovel. They expect little, and as a result, they get little. So dare you expect more today? He changed my life when I listened to that. It changed my life. It completely changed my life. I began to know that there was something going on in the world that belonged to me. The sunset, the sunrise, the smell of a flower, the touch of the skin of someone you love belongs to me, belongs to me, belongs to you. The air you're breathing, which is pure grace, because it's the energy of the universe, belongs to you. You are it. You are that power. Remember the word grace. If love seems hard to comprehend as the true nature of fear, when the dread comes upon you, just ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do? Maybe it's just a little thing. Today, just a little thing. Don't try to eat the whole watermelon in one bite. Just face your fears a little bit at a time and step over them a little bit at a time. And you'll grow constantly in clarity. You'll grow constantly in courage, and you'll grow constantly in wisdom and in self-confidence. If you'll just, every time when that wells up inside of you, just use that energy to accomplish something, to do something. And then when you've done it, say, there, I did it. Own that win. Own it, own it, own it. There, I did it. And watch your self-confidence grow. Watch how you'll be able to face bigger and bigger fears constantly. And then I'll learn that the universe, the gift to me from the universe is this personal power. Personal power. Gerald Jampolsky, Jampolsky was a wonderful man, a great author and speaker, and a huge guide for people, a spiritual guide. And he said in his best-selling book, Love is Letting Go of Fear, he said, fear and love can never be experienced at the same time. Listen, please listen to that. Fear and love can never be experienced at the same time. It's always our choice as to which of these emotions we want. But it's just energy. It's our choice. And our weekly reset has been about converting fear into energy, fear into grace, fear into love. So let's go forward then. Let's go forward this week with a new idea and a new commitment. A commitment to being all that we can be. My God, you have no idea how marvelous you are. I don't care how marvelous you think you are, it's not enough. It's not enough. You are the living presence of the divine, of the beloved. And to change that mind that keeps calling out from inside saying, no, you can't, no, you don't, no, but you shouldn't, oh, you're not worth it. To change that mind, I have 4 affirmations for you for this week. Will you please just say them at least 20 times a day, each day? 4 affirmations, real easy. First one, I am loved. Second one, I am blessed. Third one, I am safe. Fourth one, I am free. I am loved. I am blessed. I am safe. I am free. And I tell you, if you repeat those with concentration, with intention, I'm loved, I'm blessed, I'm safe, I'm free. If you'll do that 20 times a day, I promise you, you're going to see a difference in your life this week. I promise you. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you. I am so honored that you take time to be with me. And if this talk's been meaningful for you, would you please go to my website, bobtrask.com, and leave a donation so that I can keep these weekly resets going and so that I can keep the rest of my work in the world going? Bless you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we're going to hang around and chat a little bit about some of the things that we talked about today in a group. So if you want to join the group and be with us, then just hang on and we're going to see where we're going. And if you can't, if you got to go, I understand, then go with my love. And I'll see you next week.